It started with the loudest, most humiliating word a black woman could hear in a place dripping with white marble floors and imported chandeliers. "Ma'am, this isn't a flea market. This is a 5-star establishment. We don't accept fake cards here." Heads turned. Conversations paused. The sound of clinking glasses dulled into silence. And there she stood, 6-inch heels, black-on-black tailored suit, hair neatly coiled into a power bun, eyes cold as stone, but her expression unreadable. She had just slid her matte black Centurion card across the marble counter of the Silver Shade Grand Hotel in Manhattan when the young man behind the desk leaned in, looked at her up and down, and barked those words. Loud enough to echo. Loud enough to sting. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell to get notified for more, share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. She didn't flinch. Not when the murmurs started. Not when the guest behind her coughed uncomfortably and stepped aside. Not even when the manager came over and gave her that same look, the one that didn't ask questions, but assumed everything. "Security, please," the desk agent said, snapping his fingers. She gently lifted her card, examined it like it was a foreign object. Then she looked up. "You're making a mistake," she said, voice low, deliberate, smooth like silk over steel. "And you're wasting our time," the manager replied. "Unless you want us to call the police." She blinked. Just once. Then pulled out her phone. Not to argue. Not to rant. Just to send one email. Subject line: "Cancel the acquisition. Immediately." In less than 60 seconds, $2.9 billion vanished from the Silver Shade's future. Not one of them, not the manager, not the sneering desk agent, not even the curious bellboy standing to the side, realized who she was. Not until the hotel's owner came sprinting down 15 floors from his penthouse, red in the face, sweating in his Armani robe, screaming, "Did you just insult Savannah Cole?" Yes, they did. 12 hours earlier, Savannah was in a jet somewhere over the Atlantic. She was reviewing a final blueprint for a new tech facility in Nairobi, bouncing between investor emails and a silent meditation podcast playing in one AirPod. She was calm, focused. Her world operated on timelines, logic, and precision, not on feelings. She hadn't cried in over a decade, and she hadn't raised her voice in longer. She'd chosen the Silver Shade because it was supposed to represent exclusivity and discretion. She liked blending in, liked doing business without fireworks. Her arrival was understated. Black Escalade, a silent personal assistant named Troy, one overnight bag. She wasn't a celebrity. She was something scarier, a black woman with power. As she stepped out of the SUV, Troy whispered, "Your deal with Polaris Energy is at 96%. She nodded. The hotel doorman smiled politely, slightly confused by the lack of entourage. She didn't care. She was here to finalize the acquisition of a clean energy company that would put her firm, Cole Innovations, into the next century. The deal was so close, papers were already drafted. Until that lobby. Until that desk. Until that insult. "Can you even afford to stay here?" the agent had muttered when he thought she couldn't hear. But she did. And she remembered. Savannah remembered everything. Back in her suite, after the hotel owner had fired 3 employees, begged on bent knees, and offered her a month's stay for free, she didn't say a word. Just poured herself a glass of water, opened her laptop, and drafted a public statement. Effective immediately, Cole Innovations is withdrawing its acquisition offer of Polaris Energy following an unfortunate incident of racial discrimination at one of our partnered hotels. The statement went viral in 20 minutes. Polaris stock plunged. Reporters camped outside the Silver Shade by dawn. And Savannah. She went back to her routine, emails, meetings, silence. But it wasn't just about a deal anymore. It was about dignity. About the generations before her who never even got to step into such lobbies. About her mother, who scrubbed motel floors with bleach-stained hands and whispered to her at night, "You don't have to raise your voice to be heard, baby. Just build something they can't ignore." The twist. The desk agent was the nephew of the hotel's owner. Nepotism had placed him there, arrogance had blinded him, and his assumptions had cost them everything. Polaris Energy backed out of 3 major hotel expansion contracts. Investors pulled out. And Savannah. She got a call from the mayor the next day, asking if she'd consider joining the city's Economic Development Board. She declined. She didn't need politics. She had something stronger: reputation, influence, and receipts. Later that week, as she walked out of a different hotel, one run by a black-owned chain she decided to invest in, a little girl ran up to her and said, "I saw you on the news. You didn't even yell at them." Savannah smiled. Power doesn't always shout, sweetheart. Sometimes it just writes the check. Moral lesson. We live in a world where prejudice still lurks behind polished desks and tailored uniforms. But when underestimated, the quietest person in the room can wield the loudest impact. Disrespect costs more than dollars. It costs legacy, trust, and the future. Learn to treat every person with dignity, not because they might be powerful, but because they're human. Thank you for watching this powerful story. If it moved you, inspired you, or made you think twice, stick around this channel, because there's more where that came from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. You never know who might need to hear this today. See you at the top.